Welcome back to our channel. Today is a beautiful day to dive into some major soap drama, and we have a whole lot to unpack. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's get right into the thick of it, because the news dropping today is absolutely massive and it is going to affect everything we see on our screens. And honestly, this is the kind of behind-the-scenes shakeup we have been waiting for, even if it comes with a pretty massive catch. According to the latest reports from Soap Central, there are some huge personnel changes happening backstage at The Young and the Restless right now. Josh Griffith has officially decided to step down from his role as executive producer. He has been holding down that EP spot since 2023, and if you have been following the behind-the-scenes drama, you probably remember that Sally McDonald was brought in as co-executive producer back in 2025. So now the baton is being fully passed. McDonald is going to be taking over as the sole executive producer of the show moving forward. And maybe I'm being a little too dramatic here, but it really feels like the end of a very specific, sometimes incredibly frustrating era of management for the soap. But wait, don't celebrate too hard just yet. Because there is a massive, glaring catch to all of this that is already causing an uproar. So Griffith is stepping down as EP, but he is absolutely not leaving the show. No, he is just shifting his focus entirely to the writing side of things, which means Josh Griffith is still going to be the head writer of Y&R, and honestly, this is deeply disappointing news for a whole lot of fans on social media right now. Let's be real for a second, the writing has been the single biggest issue with this show for years. Griffith has given us some seriously bland, repetitive storylines for a while now, and frankly, a lot of viewers feel he deserved to be ousted from the head writer position entirely. Not just the executive producer chair, and I just have to rant about this for a minute because it's so incredibly frustrating to watch day in and day out. The show has been relying way too heavily on endless back-to-back kidnappings and mind-numbingly boring corporate musical chairs. Think about the pattern here. We had Jack Abbott kidnapped, locked in a cabin, and drugged on an abandoned yacht by a delusional Patty Williams. We had Nick Newman kidnapped, chained in a dingy storage room in Las Vegas, and pumped full of fentanyl by Matt Clark. We had Lily faking a kidnapping with the twins just to trick Kane out of his company. We had Mariah having a psychotic break and kidnapping baby Dominic. It is just kidnapping after kidnapping after kidnapping. What were they thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well or feel fresh every single time they recycle this trope? And when they aren't kidnapping people, they are just shuffling CEOs around at Chancellor, Newman Enterprises, Jabot, and Summers Conglomerate. It's exhausting. We need fresh ideas, new emotional stakes, and actual character-driven romance, and Griffith just hasn't been giving them to us at this point in his run. Now that these personnel changes are happening, maybe there will come a day when Griffith is actually replaced by someone who is more capable of delivering the high-stakes soap opera drama that the audience is desperately craving. But for now, we are stuck with him at the keyboard, typing away, but maybe there is a tiny silver lining here. Okay, that sounded overly optimistic, but you get what I mean. At least Griffith is no longer holding the executive producer title and trying to do two massive jobs at once. He will have way more time to focus solely on crafting better stories without the heavy administrative burden of running the entire production floor. So we will just have to wait and see if that actually makes any difference on screen in the future. Will Sally McDonald be able to rein him in? Will she demand better pacing and more logical character development? We can only hope. Because right now, the show is surviving on the sheer, undeniable talent of its legendary cast, not the scripts they are being handed. So I have to ask you guys, how do you really feel about Josh Griffith stepping down as executive producer but stubbornly staying on as head writer? Do you want to see the head writer position change too? If you could pick literally any other writer to take over and save Genoa City from this repetitive slump, who would you choose? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I know everyone has strong opinions on this. It's a hot topic, and honestly, the network needs to hear what the passionate fans are actually saying. Now, let's pivot back to what is actually happening on our screens, because the drama in Genoa City is certainly not slowing down, even if the writing is a bit clunky. Content-wise, the amnesiac Matt Clark is about to take center stage in a major way. And yes, I know we just spent 5 minutes complaining about the kidnapping tropes, but Matt's storyline is actually taking a slightly different, more psychological turn now. A few episodes ago, we saw him miraculously survive that massive, fiery gas station explosion in the Nevada and the Sahara Desert. Sienna Bacall literally bashed his head in with a rock during their physical altercation, and yet he still managed to stumble into a random diner looking completely dazed and confused. And here is the fascinating part about this whole Matt Clark situation. The amnesia is actually real right now. He genuinely doesn't remember his own identity, his past, or the horrific things he just did to Nick and Adam in Vegas. He is wandering around with Sienna's old GC key card as his only clue to his past life. So now, he is heading back to GC and checking into the Genoa City Athletic Club with his claimed amnesia. But knowing that, and knowing how the writers love good villainous twists, how long is that memory loss really going to last? Being back in GC, surrounded by familiar places and his old, bitter enemies, is absolutely bound to trigger some dark memories. And once those memories start coming back to him, you just know the storyline is going to morph into Matt faking the amnesia to gain a sneaky psychological advantage over everyone. He is a sadistic psychopath at his core. He is going to use this memory loss as a perfect shield to roam free in the city, playing sick mind games with Nick Newman, who is already struggling so much with his fentanyl addiction and his outpatient rehab journey. It is twisted, it is dark, but honestly, it's the kind of psychological warfare the show actually needs right now to shake things up. But Matt isn't the only one causing absolute chaos. We have a massive, devastating wave of legal troubles hitting some of our favorite characters, starting with Kane Ashby. Kane is sitting in a cold jail cell right now, and the timing literally could not be worse if they planned it. Malcolm Winters is lying in a hospital bed, dying of aplastic anemia, and Kane is his only miraculous bone marrow match. But because of Victor Newman's terrifying new AI program, Kane has been framed for corporate crimes he didn't commit. And Victoria Newman, in a move that is just so incredibly cold and ruthless even for her, intentionally provided fake AI evidence to the district attorney. This fake evidence falsely claims that Kane is a massive flight risk who is actively planning to flee to New York to hide his assets. So Christine Blair Romalotti, being the rigid, by-the-book prosecutor she is, completely denies Kane's bail. And this leads to one of the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching scenes we've had in a while. Lily Winters just completely breaks down at the DA's office. She is sobbing, screaming in absolute desperation, realizing that the Newman family's bitter, endless vendetta is indirectly signing her father's death warrant. Lily has been pushed to the absolute edge of her sanity by this entire ordeal. And what does she do? She decides to plan a highly illegal, incredibly reckless jailbreak. She wants to literally bust Kane out of jail to perform a clandestine, underground, black market surgery to save Malcolm's life. It is pure insanity. It is so dangerous and could land them both in prison forever. But you can feel her sheer desperation radiating through the screen. It's raw, it's highly emotional, and it makes you realize exactly how far these characters are willing to go when their backs are firmly pushed against the wall. And then we have Phyllis Summers. Oh, Phyllis. She really thought she was on top of the world-running Summers conglomerate, having her iconic girl boss moments with Lauren Finmore. But Victor's AI program has completely and utterly destroyed her life. The fake criminal evidence generated against her is flawless, and Victor has cornered her beautifully. Christine officially ambushes Phyllis with the police and places her under arrest. It is a massive, humiliating public spectacle that is going to rock the Genoa City elite. Of course, Phyllis gets bailed out quickly because she is Phyllis, and she always finds a way out of a cell. And the second she is out, she immediately starts loudly vowing to fight the Newman family to the bitter end. She puts up this incredibly brave, combative, arrogant front, acting like Victor hasn't fazed her at all. But underneath all that loud bravado, Phyllis is secretly terrified. She is consumed by this growing, suffocating anxiety over the prospect of actually going to prison for a very long time. And honestly, it is fascinating to watch her unravel like this. We are so used to seeing Phyllis as this untouchable, confident force of nature who always lands on her feet. To see her privately panicking, realizing that Victor might have actually outsmarted her this time, adds so much needed depth to her character. Michael Baldwin tries so hard to warn her. He literally lost his entire, illustrious legal career and is facing permanent disbarment just to give her a heads up about Victor's plot, and now she is trapped in Victor's digital web anyway. It is a brilliant, high-stakes mess, and despite my complaints about the writing, I am totally here for this specific downfall. And we absolutely cannot forget about Billy Abbott, who is also getting dragged kicking and screaming into this AI nightmare. Billy is framed for corporate crimes too, his name plastered all over those fake emails, and he is absolutely losing his mind over it. He has this furious, explosive screaming match with Victoria at his house, accusing her of acting like a loyal, blind Newman soldier Who doesn't care that he's being set up as collateral damage by her father? And the stakes are so incredibly high for Billy right now because Sally Spectra is pregnant. Sally actually overhears the argument and faints cold on the floor from the sheer terror of hearing that Billy might be arrested and taken away from her. It is a dramatic, highly chaotic moment that changes everything. But it leads to Billy confirming to a completely stan Victoria that he and Sally are officially engaged and expecting a baby together. Victoria is left speechless, and it really shifts the entire dynamic of the room. Billy vows to fight these legal issues to the very bitter end so he doesn't go to prison. He wants to be a good father, he wants to be there for Sally and their new baby, and he refuses to let Victor ruin his future. And it's this beautiful, fiercely protective side of Billy that we haven't seen in a long time. He is usually so impulsive and reckless, but now he has something real, something tangible to lose. The AA storyline is tying all these different characters together: Kane, Phyllis, Billy in this massive, inescapable web of Victor's creation. And while I complain about the writing sometimes, I have to admit that watching Victor use artificial intelligence to systematically destroy his enemies without leaving a single fingerprint is a pretty modern, terrifying twist for a soap opera. So yeah, the show is a bit of a wild roller coaster right now. We have executive producers stepping down, writers stubbornly holding on to their jobs while fans beg for a change, amnesiac psychopaths checking into luxury hotels, and half the legacy cast facing serious prison time because of a computer program. It is messy, it is chaotic, it is sometimes clunky, but we are still watching every single day. Because at the end of the day, we care deeply about these characters and their histories. We just want the stories to do them justice and give them the material they deserve. Let's hope Sally McDonald can steer this massive ship in the right direction now that she has the wheel. Keep watching, keep venting, and we will be right here to break it all down with you next time.